Have you ever worked hard all day, crossed 10 things off your list, replied to messages, handled errands, jumped between tasks, stayed busy from morning to night, and still ended the day feeling like nothing truly moved? That strange feeling is not laziness. It is not because you need a better app, a more complicated calendar, or a motivational quote printed on a mug. The real problem may be much simpler. You are doing too many things. The One Thing by Keller and Jay Papasan is built around a powerful idea. Extraordinary results do not come from giving equal attention to everything. They come from giving extreme attention to the right thing. Not everything matters equally. Some actions barely move your life forward. Some actions create a little progress. And a few rare actions create a chain reaction. The secret is learning to find that one action, the one thing that makes everything else easier or unnecessary, and then giving it your best time, energy, and focus. The Lazy Capybara version? Stop trying to carry the entire forest. Find the one coconut that starts the domino chain. The big idea: success is about subtraction. Most people think success comes from adding more. More goals, more tasks, more habits, more meetings, more projects, more productivity hacks, more things to track, optimize, and improve. But the One Thing teaches the opposite. Success often comes from subtraction. Removing distractions, removing fake priorities, removing unnecessary tasks, removing the pressure to do everything, removing the belief that all work has equal value. The authors argue that the biggest results usually come from focusing on a small number of high-impact actions, and if you keep narrowing your focus, you eventually reach the core question of the book. What is the one thing I can do, such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? This question is simple, but it is not shallow. It forces you to think. It forces you to prioritize. It forces you to stop hiding behind a long to-do list and ask what truly matters. Because being busy is easy. Being focused is harder. The lie of equal importance. One of the first myths the book attacks is the belief that everything matters equally. Most people run their lives from to-do lists, and to-do lists can feel satisfying. You write down 20 tasks, finish 15, and feel productive. But here is the problem. A to-do list does not care about importance. Reply to random email can sit next to finish business proposal. Buy batteries can sit next to call the client. Organize files can sit next to write the book. Check notifications can sit next to build the product. On paper, they all look like tasks. In reality, they are not equal. Some tasks create results. Some tasks create the illusion of progress. This is where many people get trapped. They become addicted to checking things off, even when those things do not matter much. The book encourages us to shift from a to-do list to a success list. A to-do list contains everything you could do. A success list contains the few things you must do because they create the biggest results. This is a major mindset shift. The goal is not to finish everything. The goal is to do the right thing. The 80-20 principle. The vital few matter most. The book connects strongly with the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. The basic idea is that a small number of causes often create a large percentage of results. In many situations, 20% of customers create 80% of revenue. 20% of habits create 80% of progress. 20% of tasks create 80% of results. 20% of relationships create 80% of support. 20% of products create 80% of profit. The exact numbers may change, but the pattern is powerful. The authors push this idea even further. Do not just find the important 20%, find the most important 20% of that 20%. Then keep narrowing. Eventually, you get closer to the one thing that matters most right now. This is how extraordinary results are created. Not by spreading your energy equally across everything, but by concentrating it where it creates the greatest leverage. Imagine a row of dominoes. A small domino can knock over a larger one. That one knocks over a larger one, then another, then another. Success works the same way. You do not need to push every domino at once. You need to find the first one. Multitasking is a trap. Another major myth the book destroys is multitasking. Many people are proud of being able to do several things at once. They answer emails during meetings, check messages while writing, listen to podcasts while planning, switch between tabs, and call it productivity. But the truth is, most multitasking is not doing multiple things at once. It is switching rapidly between tasks. And switching has a cost. Every time you move your attention from one task to another, your brain needs time to reset. You lose momentum. You lose depth. You increase mistakes. You create stress. You may feel busy, but your focus is constantly leaking. This is why multitasking often creates the worst of both worlds. You work harder but produce less. You spend more time but create lower quality. You feel active but not effective. The authors argue that humans do their best work when they give full attention to one thing at a time. This does not mean you can never combine simple activities. Walking while listening to music is fine. Folding laundry while chatting may be fine. But when the work requires thinking, judgment, creativity, writing, strategy, learning, or emotional presence, multitasking becomes expensive. The lazy capybara does not swim, eat, answer email, and run a quarterly planning meeting at the same time. It does one thing, peacefully, with commitment. Discipline is overrated. Habits are better. Many people believe successful people are super disciplined in every area of life. They imagine that high achievers wake up perfectly, eat perfectly, work perfectly, exercise perfectly, and never feel resistance. But the one thing offers a more useful view. Success is not about being disciplined in everything. It is about being disciplined long enough to build the right habit. Once a habit is formed, it no longer requires the same amount of energy. It becomes easier, more automatic, less dependent on mood. That is why the authors suggest focusing on one habit at a time. Do not try to change your entire life in 1 week. Do not attempt to wake up at 5 a.m., exercise daily, write 2 hours, meditate, eat perfectly, learn a language, start a business, fix your finances, and become emotionally enlightened by Friday. That is not transformation. That is a self-improvement traffic jam. Instead, choose the most important habit and focus on it until it becomes part of your life. The book suggests that habit formation takes time and consistent repetition. Whether it takes 30 days, 60 days, or longer, the principle is the same. Build one habit, stabilize it, then build the next. Success becomes easier when your life is supported by habits instead of constant willpower battles. Willpower is limited. Use it wisely. Another productivity lie is the idea that willpower is always available. People say, where there is a will, there is a way. That sounds inspiring, but it can also be misleading. Willpower rises and falls. It is stronger at some times and weaker at others. It is affected by sleep, food, stress, emotions, decisions, and environment. Many people waste their best willpower on low-value decisions. They start the day with email. They check messages. They react to other people's priorities. They make small decisions. They scroll a little. They handle random tasks. Then when it is time to do the important work, their energy is already drained. The lesson is clear. Do your most important work when your willpower is strongest. For many people, that means the morning. Protect that time. Do not give your best energy to the least important parts of your day. If your one thing matters, it deserves your strongest focus, not the exhausted leftovers after everyone else has taken a piece of you. Also, take care of your body. Sleep, good food, movement, and breaks are not separate from productivity. They support the mental energy required to focus. A brain running on stress and junk fuel will not do its best work for long. Even a highly ambitious capybara needs snacks and naps. The myth of balance. The book also challenges the popular idea of work-life balance. At first, balance sounds beautiful. Equal time for everything. Perfect harmony. Every area of life neatly managed. But the authors argue that perfect balance is not realistic. Great achievement often requires periods of imbalance. If you want to build something meaningful, you may need to give it disproportionate attention for a season. A business launch, a creative project, a health transformation, a major career goal, a relationship repair, a skill you want to master. These things require focus. But the book makes an important distinction. Your work may need to go out of balance sometimes, but your personal life must be carefully counterbalanced. In other words, do not pretend every area gets equal time every day. Instead ask, what needs my focus right now? What cannot be neglected for too long? What must be protected no matter what? You may spend intense time on work, but you still need to return to health, family, rest, and relationships before neglect becomes damage. The goal is not perfect balance. The goal is intelligent counterbalance, like a capybara leaning into the current, but not forgetting where the riverbank is. Think big. Many people limit their results because they limit their thinking. They set small goals because small goals feel safer. They avoid big dreams because big dreams feel unrealistic, risky, or embarrassing. But the one thing encourages us to think big, not because every big dream will happen exactly as planned, but because big questions create bigger answers. If you ask, how can I increase sales by 5%, your mind looks for small improvements. If you ask, how can I double sales, your mind is forced to think differently. Maybe you need a new offer, a better system, a stronger team, a different market, a more scalable channel, a new partnership, a bigger level of courage. Big thinking stretches your strategy. The authors are not saying you should become reckless. They are saying that fear often disguises itself as realism. Many people say they are being practical when they are actually protecting themselves from disappointment. A growth-oriented question is, what would I do if I were not afraid to think bigger? Then, once you have the big goal, you break it down into the next practical domino. Big vision. Small next step. That is the rhythm. The focusing question. The most important tool in the book is called the focusing question. What is the one thing I can do, such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? This question can be used in every area of life. For business, what is the one thing I can do to grow revenue? For health, what is the one thing I can do to improve my energy? For relationships, what is the one thing I can do to strengthen this connection? For learning, what is the one thing I can study that will make the rest easier? For content creation, what is the one thing I can improve that will make my videos perform better? For money, what is the one thing I can change that will improve my financial future? The magic of the question is that it forces prioritization. It does not ask, what could I do? There are always hundreds of things you could do. It asks what one thing creates the most leverage, and that is where progress begins. Purpose, priority, and productivity. The authors connect extraordinary results to 3 levels. Purpose. Purpose is your reason. Why are you doing this? What matters to you? What kind of life are you building? What goal gives direction to your effort? Without purpose, productivity becomes random. You may get things done, but they may not build the life you actually want. Priority. Priority is the one thing that matters most right now. The word priority originally meant one thing, not 10 things. When everything is a priority, nothing is. Your job is to identify the next most important domino. Productivity. Productivity is doing the priority with protected time and energy. This is where action happens. Purpose gives direction. Priority chooses the path. Productivity walks it. Most people skip straight to productivity and wonder why they feel scattered. But if your purpose is unclear, your priorities will be messy. And if your priorities are messy, your productivity becomes busy work. Time blocking. Make an appointment with your one thing. One of the most practical recommendations in the book is time blocking. If something truly matters, it should be on your calendar, not as a vague hope, as a protected appointment. Block time for your one thing before the world fills your day with everything else. For many people, the best move is to schedule a large block early in the day for deep work. During that time, no email, no phone, no notifications, no meetings, no small tasks, no multitasking, just the one thing. This is where the book becomes very practical. You do not need a complicated system. You need to protect the work that matters most. If you do not block time, your one thing will be pushed aside by urgent but less important demands. The world does not automatically protect your priorities. You have to do that. Success requires saying no. Every yes has a cost. When you say yes to a meeting, you may be saying no to deep work. When you say yes to every request, you may be saying no to your goal. When you say yes to distractions, you may be saying no to momentum. When you say yes to too many projects, you may be saying no to excellence. The one thing requires sacrifice. That word can sound negative, but sacrifice simply means choosing. You cannot do everything and still do the most important thing well. This is one of the hardest lessons for ambitious people. They see opportunity everywhere. They want to build, learn, improve, help, explore, and create. But scattered ambition produces scattered results. Focused ambition compounds. Saying no is not about being cold. It is about being clear. A peaceful capybara does not attend every meeting in the jungle. It has priorities. How to apply. The one thing today. Here is a simple way to use the book immediately. 1. Brain dump everything. Write down everything you are trying to do. Projects, goals, tasks, responsibilities, ideas, personal plans, business plans. Get it all out of your head. 2. Find the vital few. Ask, which of these actually moves my life forward? Circle the few that matter most. Then narrow again. Which one matters most right now? 3. Ask the focusing question. Use the question, what is the one thing I can do, such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Do not rush the answer. Think deeply. 4. Time block it. Put your one thing on the calendar. Give it your best energy. Protect it like it matters, because it does. 5. Remove or delay distractions. Ask, what can I say no to? What can I postpone? What can I delegate? What can I ignore? What is pretending to be urgent? Create space. 6. Build one habit around it. Choose one habit that supports your one thing. Make it simple and repeatable. If your one thing is writing, build a daily writing block. If it is health, build a daily walk or workout. If it is sales, build a daily outreach habit. If it is learning, build a daily study ritual. One habit can become the first domino. The main takeaway. The one thing is powerful because it cuts through the noise. It reminds us that success is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right thing long enough for the results to compound. The world will always offer distractions. Your to-do list will always grow. There will always be more messages, more ideas, more opportunities, more requests, more shiny objects. But extraordinary results come from focus, not equal focus on everything. Deep focus on the one thing that matters most. A long list makes you feel busy. The one thing makes you effective. Final reflection. At the end of the day, your life is not shaped by everything you could have done. It is shaped by what you consistently choose to do. So ask yourself, what is the one thing that if I truly focused on it would change everything? Maybe it is one skill, one habit, one relationship, one project, one decision, one business priority, one health change, one creative commitment. Find it, then protect it. Because your best life will not be built by scattering your energy across everything that asks for attention. It will be built by choosing what matters most and giving it the respect of your focus. So today, before you add another task, open another tab, or chase another goal, pause and ask the question, what is my one thing right now? Then do it first. And as always, stay calm, stay focused, and move like a lazy capybara who knows exactly which domino to push. Subscribe to the Lazy Capybaras for more calm, practical book summaries that help you think better, focus deeper, and build a life with fewer distractions and better results.